Hi, welcome to lawline.com. My name is David Schnurman. Today we're talking about blogging and why it is good for your website. Today is actually the launch of the Legal Beat, which is officially the lawline.com blog where you can showcase your expertise if you're a lawyer or if you work with attorneys. So we figured it would be appropriate to tell you why you should blog for your website. Zach's going to get into a little bit of what the background is of the word blog and what it means to some of you who have heard it many times and actually not really sure what blogging is. So Zach Heller, who's to my right, will get into that a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Basically, I want to give a quick run-through of what a blog is for those of you who might not know. Comes from the word weblog, which actually started out as like an online personal journal almost for people to share their ideas, to write about interesting things that are going on that they have an opinion about. And it turned into more of an interactive community almost, where there were a bunch of bloggers out there kind of communicating back and forth on their own blogs, as well as adding comments to everyone else's blog posts. And it turned into kind of a dialogue, which a lot of people took a hold of and brought it to a new level. And nowadays you can find blogs on almost any topic all over the web. Now Dave's going to talk a little bit about how a blog can help your marketing campaign online.
Pretty much a blog is great for getting your own content out there. So if you practice in real estate closings, I'm sure what you're going to do is you're going to post a lot of different aspects about different things regarding to that, all of your knowledge and expertise that you've done over the years. In addition, what you're going to do, if you use a free service, which Zach's going to get into, you can put links back to your site for every blog post you have. If you decide to put the blog on your actual site, it's going to be great because it's going to add more content to your site and make it fresh. Both of these things, the links back to your site as well as more content on your site, helps with Google and the search engine spiders when they check your site, how valuable your site is based on all the other sites out on the web, and what that's going to do is that's going to get you ranked higher when people search certain areas that you're talking about in your blog. Zach, what are the main services out there that people can use for free and even pay $10 to $15 a month if they want to use blogging?
Right, yeah. Basically, to get started, you're going to have to build a blog page that you can use. And although most of your webmasters have the ability to actually program it to make the blog themselves, it's probably going to be cheaper for you to either buy a service or there are actually some free services out there that you might want to use. Some services are TypePad, which you can actually use their own service and incorporate it onto your site. LexBlog, which has their own site, so they'll host your blog and put a link back to your site. And then Google has a free service called Blogger, which actually your site, the blog, will be blogspot.com and then whatever username you use, but you can link it back to your site just as easily as those other sites. And now Dave's going to talk a little bit about search engine optimization and how a blog can really help your SEO campaign.
So what's important is before you start a blog, just map out your ideas. Everyone has ideas, and what's great about a blog is the ideas you have in the shower in the morning, you can actually just put it out there and not put much thought into it, and that's what a blog's for. So you want to make sure you don't get stale. Before you get started, you don't want to just start it one day and then you update it once a month. So tip number one, constantly update it. Even if it's a paragraph to 2 paragraphs, the more you update it, the better it's going to be for search engine rankings. Whether or not you're constantly putting links back to your site from an outside blog, or if you've built it into your site. And if you do want to build it into your site, you can use a service such as TypePad, or you can actually build it on your own. And we'd be happy to get in more detail with that. If anyone has questions, they can give us a call at our toll-free number. We'll be happy to explain how you can do that. And then pretty much when you have the actual post, it's important to, as we said in our first SEO blog post that we put on here, is you want to have everything match. You want to have the right keywords, you want to have the right titles to your page, you want to have the right descriptions to your page that all are on the specific topic that you really want to get ranked under. So let's just use real estate closings again. You want to talk about contracts, you want to talk about a 90-day period between closing and the contract, that the specific things that you want. You're going to put those keywords in the title, you're going to put them in the description, and you're also going to just have it uniform, and maybe having some links to outside sites that talk about that. All that helps in making sure it's uniform. And the last thing is, on these free sites as well as the pay sites, you can actually set the URL on the top of the browser to have the specific words that you want. So instead of it just being a random code or numbers, you can say real estate closings, .php. This way, the search engines will pick that out when someone types that in Google. So, Zach, if you can, I'm going to throw it back to you and just talk a little bit more about what to blog in more detail so the attorneys can get running with that right away.
All right. Basically, the great thing about a blog is it's whatever you want. You can blog about anything on your mind. Now, I know for the legal profession, it's a little more formal. You might want to seem a little more professional, even in your writing. But there are creative things that you can do that are still formal, that are still professional, that actually are interesting that people will want to read. Basically, it's important for a blog to put it in your own voice. You don't want to sound like you're just someone covering a news story who remains anonymous. You want to use I think, use my opinion is. You want to talk about yourself, talk about how you feel, and get your name out there. It helps a lot with branding, and people feel like they're reading something that's a little more personal, and it's a little more interesting. Secondly, you want to talk about things that are important to you, because this will come across in your writing. People will feel that passion that you have for that particular topic, and they'll want to read, they'll want to learn about your expertise, and they'll want to learn what you can do to help them, maybe if they're interested. And secondly, know your audience. It's very important to know who's going to find this blog and who's going to read it, and you got to communicate to them with as much information as you can. Basically, you don't want to be talking over somebody's head. They're not going to have any idea what you're talking about, certain legal codes or certain law issues. And if they don't know what you're talking about, chances are they're not going to stay very long. And if people don't stay on your blog very long, that hurts your search engine rankings. So you want them to really be interested, to be captivated by what you're writing, and read further. You want them to stay on the site as long as possible, and then follow it to your actual website and maybe have them contact you. And basically, just to finish this section off, I know there's one lawyer who actually got pretty famous for her blog, and basically she watches the show The Office on NBC every Thursday, and the next morning she writes a blog about all the different lawsuits that the boss of the company, Michael Scott, could get into for certain things, actions that he took towards his employees on the show. And it's gotten a lot of readers, it's gotten a lot of fans commenting on it, and it's actually driven a lot more traffic to her law firm's site based on it. So even something you might think is unprofessional and informal in the legal profession will help your search engine rankings, will help your web marketing. And now Dave's going to talk a little bit about some extras you can add to your blog to make it a little better.
And we'll just sum up with this pretty much. Two things that I would just say about the blog is you can add a blog roll. What is a blog roll? That is pretty much links to other blogs who you say, this is somebody you should read. What's great about this is there's tons of legal blogs out there, and tons of interesting ones. We just started our blog roll, which you can see in the lower right-hand side. There's about maybe 6 or 10, I don't know, depending on how, when you're watching this, there could be 20 or 30. What we're doing, we're trying to build it up with quality sites that we like. In return, the blog roll links back to your site. So in addition to building up traffic, building credibility, it helps again with SEO, and it's great just to have that blog roll on there. And another thing that's just important to understand with blogs is people only read it, but they also can comment on it. And if people comment on it, it's helpful for them. It just keeps it active. It keeps a lot of people coming back to your blog. One thing you should know for blogs in general, we kind of talked about this last week, but I think it's worth mentioning again. If you go to someone else's blog and you're writing a comment, put a link back to your site, just on the bottom or where you can, where it asks you to, it will link back from your name. This way, as long as you're giving quality comments, you'll get links back to your site, and you can do that in return for other people. So that's the basics of blogging 101. There's so much information out there. Why don't you just get started? You'll learn later on, but just sign up today. Easiest thing, go to blogger.com, it's free, and sign up today, and just start with your first article. And of course, you can call us at any time at 1-800-LAW-LINE. We'll be happy to help you. You can ask for me, you can ask for Zach, and I don't know if you have any final comments that you'd want to say.
I mean, one last thing for the skeptics out there. A lot of lawyers are saying they don't have a lot of time to constantly be writing and updating their blog. And one option that you have is you can actually hire someone to write in your name. Basically, there are services out there that will blog for you. if you ask them to, you tell them the topics, and they'll actually research and write what they think, and it'll all be in your name, so it'll appear as if you're writing it yourself. And that's just a time-saving solution that you can use to help you get started right away.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Next week we'll be talking about another marketing tip for your website.
Thanks a lot.